Update: Fiance cheated and put the blame on me and my ex. Everyone feels sorry for her and asked me to forgive her. Hello folk. Well, it's been a while since my 23M first post. I've been receiving a lot of support in my DM and I can't thank you all enough. People ask me for update, so here we go. I put a link above to my first post for those who want some context. D-Day was very close to my finals, so it's like I was numb and feel like I was in autopilot all along my exams. There were nothing else matters in that period and honestly focusing on myself was all I needed, and now I'm officially an engineer. I remained NC whether with Marie, ex-fiancé 22F, her family, my family or anyone who mind my business. But in the evening after my exams, when I finally get back to my apartment, everything came back like a big wave that fell on me. I was tired and felt abandoned by everyone. I was very anxious about the messages I were going to receive when I turned on my phone, so I just wanted to sleep. I read most people of mine movies of theirs, so with their AP. I get those images, but oddly it was me with Marie. I pictured a lot of those times we cuddled, making out, etc., and I felt dirty. I kept scratching myself, then going take a shower to clean myself from the feeling of getting dirty. I did that twice in that evening. I had trouble falling asleep in my bed. I scratched again because it reminded me all those times Marie and I were sleeping in the bed. So I lay down on the floor. The next day, every time the images were too much to handle, I'd started scratching again and went showering to feel clean. I did that 8 times. Right now I'm doing it like 3 to 4 times a day. I'm afraid I will damage my skin. Has this ever happened to any of you? Hope it's not a compulsive mental illness. So the next day I turned on my phone. The messages kept coming. There were like over 200 text messages and many voicemails. I didn't read any of them. I deleted everything. I didn't have the strength to go through the same SHT where people told me the same things again and again. I decided to go to my family house. I couldn't keep hiding any longer. I already knew I was going to find people there like every Saturday. I have never been so stressed in my life. When I get home, I found there my uncle, my father's brother and self-proclaimed head of the family after my father passed away, his wife, whom I will call Witch because well she is a witch, their children, a few family friends as well as my siblings, 13M, 9M and 5F. For some reason my mother wasn't there. As soon as I got there my uncle started yelling at me and I didn't even acknowledge him. Just seeing my little sister running to me for a hug was a blessing. God, I love this little girl. All my siblings see me as a role model. I felt guilty for not talk to them all this time. Usually when I'm there on the weekends, I help with their homework. I do put the youngest to bed and told them some stories that my father used to tell me. And when I am in my own apartment, we manage to talk every night to see how their day was. We're very close to each other. But my uncle won't stop yelling at me. So I got pissed off. I was sitting in front of everyone like I was getting an audition from a jury lol. Which asks me if I found back my sanity. Apparently Marie changed her version. She said she didn't slept with her AP, they just kissed. She said I put so much pressure on her that she confesses something that she didn't do. But I know what I saw on AP's phone. This girl called Marie, I really don't know who she was anymore. She turned to be such a manipulative person. How can someone hide such a vicious nature for so long, or am I such a fool who wasn't able to notice anything? Before we start dating, she told me lying was a deal breaker, that what she hated most in the world was narcissistic. While she embodies everything she hates, it's beyond my little mind. Well, at that point I didn't care anymore. I've told everyone what I've been through, and that they have the choice to believe either me they've known my whole life or someone they've known a little longer than a year. Which told me that it was impossible, because Marie is a sweet and loving girl, who helps the community and who even volunteers. Well, I told her that was irrelevant because even Hitler volunteered in some point in his life. My uncle said if it's true that Marie slept with AP that I had the right to not continue the relationship, as if I need some permission to pursue any of my relationships. But when Witch said that it doesn't matter if it was true because it would be just a mistake made by a youngie, my uncle immediately agreed with her. He's the biggest fool I ever know. He may have an opinion, but as soon as his wife says otherwise he changes his mind. I wouldn't even be surprised if his wife cheated on him and he knew it. He's a real doormat. But maybe he is literally afraid of his wife. He is very small compared to her. If you see them walking hand in hand at night you would think of a lady walking with her child. Then Witch tells me to confess it was because of Samia, 23F. I stayed calm. I replied that I hadn't heard from Samia for 2 years. My uncle told me if it wasn't because of Samia I can easily forgive Marie. I couldn't take it anymore. I told him okay, I will forgive Marie, if he let me sleep with Witch for 2 months. There it became chaos. My uncle wanted to hit me but the family friends hold him. I tell them they were hypocrites. They asked me to forgive what they couldn't even imagine on their side, and now I didn't allow anyone to interfere in my life. Witch was crying and my uncle said he would never forgive me and I was dead for them. In the moment, I didn't care. I went up to my room because I still have a room there. I felt some regrets actually because they were still my family. I admit that I started having doubts about the reliability of what AP showed me, and for a short time I was wondering if I could forgive her if it was just a kiss. Well, I came to the conclusion I couldn't. Never. When I was little and my parents couldn't pick me up after school because of their work, it was our neighbor who took care of it because he also had 2 children in the same school. Then I stayed at his place until the evening. He took good care of me, treated me like his child, he gave me little candies each time, gave me presents. I loved him very much. He was a great man in the eyes of everyone, and this kind, helpful man committed suicide one day because his wife had an affair. This is what cheating can do. And I heard a year after that his wife ended up moving to Canada with the kids and her AP. Maybe my hatred of cheating come from that event. So I won't burn myself out to give warmth to others by getting back with Marie, even though, honestly, I don't get why people are trying so hard to get me back with Marie and how the heck it would benefit them. Anyway, my mother came back. I guess they told her what happened. She came in my room and the first thing she did were hugging me, asking me about my feeling and my finals. She is such a lovely human being despite the fact she mostly communicates her love through her actions rather than by words. I remember a few years ago I used to work in a fast food while studying. I often came back home around 2 a.m. and she was there waiting for me, and we had small talks while I ate the dinner she reheated for me. We were having hard times to not waking up everybody with our laugh. So we talked about what happened with my uncle and his wife, and I gave her the full version of the why I have to break up with Marie. In my last post I didn't mention the fact I only told my mother that Marie cheats on me but not in what extent, so she believed like everyone else that it was just a kiss. She was sorry for what I was going through, but what surprises me the most were the facts she was crying. Well, it was the first time in my life I saw my mom crying. Even when my father passed away, she was still smiling and trying to be the support system we needed and would cry only the night in her room when she thought everyone was sleeping. I had a breakdown seeing her crying, and I couldn't stop myself to cry. At the moment she hugged me that I start having a bunch of feeling like sadness, anger, hatred. I felt the hurt deeply. She told me she would accept any decision I made. My mom came back downstairs and everyone left. I didn't ask what she told them. I didn't care that much. I put off again my phone for the next week because I was too tired. I spent most of that time sleeping and catching up with my siblings, gaming with them, and trying to deal with the pain I was feeling. My mother did receive a call from Marie's parents several times and she only told me once she felt I was in a good place to talk about it. Apparently Marie was having a bad time. She spent some time in hospital and she was going insane because I went NC. Marie's parents begged my mom to meet me just one time. So even though she told me I don't have to, I agree to meet them, with Marie, next Saturday. Marie lead the narrative all that time, so it is my time to do so. I don't know how it's going to be and if I should have them come to my house or go to their home. But I will be ready. In my last post, someone gave me the idea of calling her AP pretending I might giving her a second chance if I don't have enough proof. Well, that's what I did yesterday and I will see him tomorrow, Sunday. He said there is far more to the story I know. He said he won't send me proof, because I might show it to Marie and he then won't have a shot to win her back, but he will show and tell me everything. We will see. Oh yes, people keep asking how things are going between me and Samia. I said in my last post I will contact her to apologize for having her name associated in this mess, even if it's not my fault. Well, before I could do it, she contacted me by email. It's not what you think, lol. She was super mad and didn't understand why people keep telling her she messed my couple. But at least she was kind enough to ask me if I was okay with all this mess. I saw the message 2 days ago. I didn't respond yet. I don't even know what to write. I am like a brainless odd guy right now. But I will do it between the meeting of Marie's AP and her family. I will update you guys. Thank y'all. Update 2. Hey guys. A quick update, I guess. So I met yesterday Marie's AP. I am too tired to give all the detail because the situation is becoming really heavy. I met him in the same place as the first time. I of course record everything. Long story short, they dated 4 years on and off and Marie never was the virgin she claimed to be, nor was he the first man with whom she slept. He was, and still is, crazy about her even though Marie cheated twice. He was willing to work though at each time. But somehow Marie get pregnant and she didn't know who the father was. Still, he was willing to accept the baby as his and didn't want to do a paternity test. Marie's parents got to learn about the pregnancy and wanted her to abort. He says due to the stress, she eventually had a miscarriage. She was too depressed and her family decided to relocate in order to start fresh. He says it's that time where Marie began to develop the idea of born-again virgin, whatever that mean. According to him, she felt like her miscarriage is a punishment due to the way she used to live her life. She broke up with him and they decided to stay friends. So far he didn't show me any proof. He says he had changed his phone in the meantime. But he showed me discussions they had during the whole period that I knew Marie. In the texts, Marie said she met someone, me, who had the kind of old romantic relationship she always wanted to experience with someone. Over time she said I was a good guy and she could build something with me. And through our relationship AP became someone she confided in when she was insecure. So he knows practically everything about our relationship. He told me details that only me and Marie know. He says Marie didn't like me at first, she liked the idea that I was able to have an amazing relationship in the past and she wanted the same. He thinks that Marie still doesn't love me, she just loves the idea of having me completely and she never felt that she had me completely, so it became an obsession. Well, I don't know if the first part of his story is true or not, but I know that everything he's told me since I've known Marie is corroborated by evidence. I'm getting angrier and angrier and it's a feeling I'm not comfortable with. I don't want to meet Marie's family, but I don't know if it's true that they knew from the start what their daughter was. What is certain is that now I no longer want to meet Marie. I have this huge need to take all the evidences and send them to all people I know because it is unfair that I, who was born and lived in my neighborhood, must bear the consequences of her bullshit, but at the same time I don't want to do things like that. I do have a lot of respect for Marie's parents. I should just send them my evidences and ask them for explanations before deciding whether or not I will meet them. Thank you for all your support on my 2 previous posts and in my DMs. I'm losing my mind right now while many of you had lived for years with your spouse who cheated on you and some even have children with them. It might be my last update if nothing new happens. So thank you all and I wish a lot of courage to those who are going through difficult times because of infidelity.